I designed this monkey lovey to be worked from the bottom up. So after crocheting the legs, they become the body, and you just keep going until you finish the top of the head. As you can see, the legs are stuffed, but the body isn't. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I keep that stuffing where it belongs. I'm also going to give you some tips on how to crochet the feet when you're shaping them, and you got all those decreases together and you got to do them all at once. That sometimes leaves you with big gaps, and I'll share those secrets with you in today's tutorial. I'm using weight 4 yarns and a 3.5mm crochet hook for this tutorial, so let's get crocheting.
This is round 8 of the left leg, and it started with putting a single crochet in the next 6 stitches. Now I need to decrease. The first thing I do is pull the loop around my hook snug. Then I insert my hook into the front loop of the next stitch and the stitch after that. Now I yarn over and pull my hook through 2 loops. I finish with a yarn over and pulling my hook through all the loops on the hook. I need to decrease again, so I'm pulling the loop around my hook snug again before starting the decrease. The difference here is how I'm pushing my work closer to the decrease I'm making. After the decrease, I need to make a single crochet in the next 4 stitches. Again, I'm going to push my work closer to the previously made stitch.
I wanted to jump in here really quick and really try to explain this concept. When you make a decrease in a 3-dimensional object, you're removing a stitch from the round, and it doesn't just bring those pieces together, it kind of folds your work inward. Okay, let me skip to round 9, where we're gonna have a repeat of a single crochet and a decrease, and hopefully you'll see what I'm talking about. After you've finished crocheting round 11, the pattern is going to prompt you to stop and stuff your work. So here are my tips on how to do that.
I like to fluff the stuffing before inserting it into my work. Then I push the stuffing into the toe and the heel areas first. Once those areas are full, I can fill in the rest, but I want the bottom of the foot to remain flat, so I'm careful not to push too much stuffing down into the center, which could round it out a bit. The other thing I do while stuffing my work is to take breaks. During those breaks, I'm looking at what I have from a few different angles, just to make sure I get the shaping right. This will help me see where I might need to add more stuffing into a specific area. My last tip is to avoid stuffing your work all the way full. What I mean is, I'm going to leave the last 1 or 2 rounds free from getting any stuffing. Those last 2 rows are going to give my hook the clearance it needs to avoid grabbing that stuffing. Before you begin, make sure the leg is fully stuffed, and then thread your scrap piece of yarn onto a needle. Now fold the top of the leg in half, and using that marked stitch as your starting point, insert your needle into the back loop of that marked stitch and the back loop of the last single crochet made in the last round. Don't pull the yarn all the way through, leave about a 5-inch tail. Then whip stitch through the back loops of the stitches that align with each other on both sides until you reach the end. weave the needle through a few of those whip stitches going back towards your starting point. Don't pull too snug or you might distort the top shape of that leg. Remove the yarn tail from your needle and then thread that needle back onto the 5-inch tail you left behind earlier. Weave through a few of those whip stitches going towards the middle where you left the first yarn tail behind. Tie those two together, and you can choose to either leave them as they are or weave them back down into the leg. Either way, nobody's going to see them because later on in the pattern we're going to crochet the body and those yarn tails will be in on the inside. Again, make sure the leg is fully stuffed and then thread your scrap piece of yarn onto a needle. Fold the top of the leg in half and begin whip stitching across the top and then weave the needle through some of those whip stitches to get to the middle. Once that's done, thread your yarn tail you left behind at the start onto a yarn needle. Then weave it through a few whip stitches where you left the previous yarn tail, so you can tie those two together. Give those tails a trim or weave them back into the leg. It's up to you.
I hope these tips for crocheting that invisible decrease help you get the results you want for your Ami projects. Things are going to get really exciting in the next tutorial as we bridge these legs together and start the body. Thanks for crocheting with me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. I designed this monkey Lovey.